Congratulations! You found the video. Welcome! So this video is intended to share a little bit with you about what it means to join the community of wildcraft play as an adult. There's a lot of people that talk about wildcraft play being a game for kids. It's true, and my intention is to share this with people around the world so that as many people as possible have access to not only the game called wildcraft play, and I'll share a little bit about that with you, but also the concept of how to facilitate in this. It's called the hummingbird approach. So let me just dive into this. First, I want to find out and just like get you to consider why you're here. What is it that brought you to this video? Maybe you're looking for a community to engage with. Maybe you're kind of sick of doing this on your own. I mean, I have gotten there, and I know what it's like to try to just push through and generate a nature-based program and try to figure it out all by myself. I've been there. Maybe you don't want to be that solo entrepreneur anymore, and you want to work with a team. You want to have people that have got your back and you can brainstorm with and troubleshoot with and debrief hard times with. Maybe you're looking for more one-on-one coaching, where you would be directly in communication with myself or another professional coach, where we get to kind of walk you through what to do and how to do it. I've worked with somebody before where they counted on me to be in communication with them on Tuesday night, right before their program, so that the next day they would run the program, and then when we have another call that same day on Wednesday to debrief how it went and get ready for the next week. Some of us need that level of coaching, and honestly, it's so worth it for you to really feel empowered of what to do and how to do it. And it came down to the basics of, how do I write a quest? How do I draw? How do I set things up in a way that the kids are really going to be engaged? Do I change my tone of voice? Do I act differently? Do I wear a hat? Like, what do I have to do? Do I have to really be different than who I am? Or how can I take the skills that I currently have and really make it work for me? You've got to be here for a reason. And maybe it's because you've gotten some feedback from some kids that maybe you're not so engaging. I know what that's like. I've been there too. And that's kind of the motivating factor behind what brought me here. This training provides a lot of resources. Not only is it going to be through videos, more videos like this of me just talking at you, but also documents and like written songs. I'm going to be providing songs, and I have a lot of resources that I'm willing to share with you. And so there's an entire package of many things for you to access. And honestly, if you don't see what you're looking for, I am totally open for you to just ask, because I have a lot of connections from around the world, and I'm more than happy to reach out for you and support you in the programs that you're offering. Maybe you've heard about inquiry-based learning, or child-led learning, or even guided discovery learning. Guided discovery learning is the core of what it is that I have to offer, but I've added a twist to it. I've got my own sort of way that I generated this concept of guided discovery learning. But I know that recently in the education system, and there's a lot of families out there that are talking about, how do we stop bubble wrapping our kids so that when they go outside to play, maybe they scratch their knee. Maybe we make it, possible for them to stretch their edges a little bit, but maybe for you, you just don't have the confidence yet. Or some people call it common sense, but I gotta say, watch out for that phrase, because to me, common sense is something that is developed over time based on a length of an amount of time that develops your experiences. So if you've only experienced something once, well, you're not really going to have common sense around it, because you have to have that kind of experience, like rock climbing or kayaking or canoeing, or even just going for a hike down the woods in a particular trail, that you're gonna become more and more aware of the surroundings. And maybe you have more little accidents that happen. You trip, you fall, you scratch your knee, you hear a loud sound, something comes up. With more of those experiences, then you start to develop that common sense, because you've known what to do over time. This is something else that I'm going to be offering in this training. That's going to be like sort of like a homework thing or a quest for you to do. I'm going to be offering quests every week freely to as many people that want to learn about it, and you can definitely access that. But the intention for these quests is to motivate you, and is to give you a chance to really find different aspects of yourself and of your local environment, your community, and even around the world that you didn't know about. I'll be providing tools and resources that are in print form that you will have access to, and ability to adapt and change in whatever way you need to. I can offer some support and coaching with that via email, that just like helps you generate what you need for your experience. If you're a program leader and you're generating your own program and you want to integrate Wildcraft Play into that program, this is what it would take for you. So I'm available to help generate whatever type of training it is that you're going to need to help you succeed. So for example, if you've never run a program before and you need the bare bones of insurance and licensing and risk management, risk assessments for the landscape that you're working with, and first aid training, like any of what it takes to run an outdoor program, I'm more than happy to share that with you. And we can get into the finer details of, how do you get more bums in seats? How do you market your program well enough so that it really calls in the people from your community and helps your program grow. So I can definitely offer support on the marketing end of things, especially with online marketing. I have a whole community that's working with me, that's supporting me to run this training with you, that I would love to share with you as well, because not only do I not have to reinvent the wheel with them, it's a whole platform that can help you get whatever you want off the ground as well. So you just got to ask, and I'll share more information about that with you. In 2008, I created a game that the intention was to just engage kids fully in play. And it came from a conversation I had with a couple of boys when I said, "Who wants to go play outside?" And they all said, "Nah, I'd rather play on my DS." And I had to swallow my pride in that moment. And I was like, okay, show me what's exciting about your DS. So I sat down next to them and they were playing Minecraft. And I think Minecraft's an amazing tool. And I think it's really great, especially in the dark of winter and in those like transitional times of riding in the car and you don't have a choice. Totally. Those kind of games are necessary at those times, yet not all the time. And so when the kids have an opportunity with someone like me to go play outside and they choose their DS, my brain goes to a place of just real curiosity. What's going on for them? So when I sat down next to this one boy, I said, "So what makes it so exciting?" And here's what he said. He said, "I get to explore in nature." I didn't know what to do when I heard that. I just thought, gosh, okay, so he feels safe in nature on his DS, going through this very square world. Okay, it feels safe. So what is it about that, and safety and risk management and nature connection and self-confidence? And it comes down to that realm again of common sense and intuition. In my research, I found that when we get into that realm of play deep enough, we surpass those fears, the fear of being touched by stinging nettles or the fear of a bee sting. We surpass all of these fears and we fully engulf ourselves in this game because it's all up here in our mind. It's no longer being afraid of maybe there's bears out there or cougars. It's full gameplay with kids in nature. And the tricky thing that happens with that, especially when you play those games where they have to stop and hide, they soon, within seconds, are stuck lying beside a spider. And maybe this child used to be afraid of spiders, but the objective of the challenge or the game is to be 100% silent. So that child is holding their breath, looking at the spider. Maybe they're feeling a bit of fear, but they're more focused on not getting caught in the game. So think about that for a second. There's psychology behind this. And if you generate epic gameplay for children and you take away the fear factor of it, what's left in between? What is it that is generating them to stay there even though they may have been afraid of spiders? This is where we get to dive deeper in this training. I'm super excited to share a lot of the research that I have developed and also ongoing research that I'm continually engaging in, because I just believe in this stuff. It's, you know, the psychology of the earth. It's the psychology of children being connected with the earth. There's something healing about this. It's almost preventative medicine. I worked with youth at risk for a long time, and in that, while working with those youth at risk, I couldn't wait for the opportunity to work with younger children to help teach them their own capacity, to help them learn what it takes to generate internal healing and internal inspiration, internal motivation, so that when they're faced with hard things, that they already have that resilience within them. They already have the capacity to make hard choices and make decisions and solve problems, and the intercommunication and the collaboration, the role play, like all of the kind of stuff that they gain out of this Wildcraft Play game, they've already got practice with it. There's a number of things that happen in the game that, you know, that it's a bit edgy. Maybe it's even edgy for the adults that are facilitating it. But you know what? If we don't provide that space for kids to feel that edge and have their own inquiry about it, have their own curiosity about it, then we're just going to have to spoon feed it to them. And that's not really what I believe is our role as facilitators. I believe our role is to stand alongside these children, to stand beside them and show them that we care. Not tell them the name of that next mushroom, not point which road we're supposed to go down, but just stand beside them like we're a child too. It's not an easy place to go, but I gotta tell you, it's super fun when you finally let go and you just fully play with the kids. If you think about the way Maria Montessori runs her schooling, where a system is set up and the kids are pretty much handed tools or whatever it is that they want to discover, and they just go ahead and discover it. Now that's called discovery learning, which means it's not guided. The difference between that is when somebody guides somebody on through that discovery, there's a particular way or certain questions that are asked. Now, when you use the hummingbird approach, which is another level of it, there's a certain time and progression of the experience that you provide, so that you're not only guiding them through that journey, but you first kind of have to let them fail a bit at the beginning. They have to make mistakes. They have to learn on their own. They have to generate that internal motivation to actually want that information instead of just spoon feeding it to them. One of my favorite phrases that I say to the kids when they're like, "What are we doing now?" I say, "Ooh, that's for me to know and for you to find out." And they start hearing that enough that they actually repeat that back to me when they ask, "What are we doing now?" And I go, "Oh, that's," and they finish the sentence, "That's for you to know and for us to find out." And soon they start letting go of the need for more information and start generating their own capacity to think for themselves. And this is one of the core values that I have with Wildcraft Play, is the intention to fully play and engage in a game that's so full of adventure and laughter and connection and nature connection and joy and playfulness and real, like it feels like a video game. It's really intense. And the kids not only, you know, one of my favorite quotes is from my research when this boy says to me, "I can't believe that you did this. I don't know how you did this. You just took the best of three worlds. You took nature, playing outside, and you mixed it with hanging out with all my friends, and then you made it feel like a video game, but it's in real life." And honestly, that's the hook. I mean, there's lots of little tricks that I have that I can't wait to share with you about how to hook kids into playing. And I gotta say that yes, it's for ages 8 to 12, and I think that this kind of gameplay is for those kids that maybe spend a lot more time on video games than they do outside. It's for the beginner outdoor players. It's not necessarily designed for the high-end competitive downhill skier group or, you know, like the extreme downhill mountain bike group or whatever, because it's a different style of engagement. It's not for the kids that are already super connected with nature. It's actually for those kids that we might need to figure out a way of how to get them to trust themselves in nature. So it's the real beginning aspect, the real starting point for kids to start to connect with nature, connect with each other, and honestly, to connect with themselves. It's a big deal. A lot of people don't realize that children don't really have a sense of self, especially at the ages 8 to 12. And the more opportunities that we can offer them to not only generate that connection and generate that sense of play and safety and trust while still climbing trees and doing things that feel edgy for them, is one of the most empowering things I believe we can offer children today. You will have access to a private website where all of the resources are available. We will be communicating on Facebook, so there will be a private Facebook group and a public Facebook group that you get to have access to all of the materials and constant weekly communications and resources, which is really exciting. My vision for this training is to not only engage you in becoming the most epic superhero you can be, but to help you inspire children to find their inner superhero through an extraordinary gameplay concept that I created back in 2008. I do a practice that I call guided self-assessment. So a guided self-assessment is basically using video to capture how you're facilitating so that it's direct feedback to you, so that you can learn exactly what it takes for you to shift your tone of voice, your personality, your mindset, maybe the progression of how you do what you do and what you're doing, in order for you to get the most efficient and effective feedback so that you can make changes that are worthwhile, so that you can make changes that really feel like it's something that you do want to move forward to doing. Because there's no point in learning something new if A, you're not going to try it on and use it, and B, if it makes you feel bad. Like, that's not the intention at all. The intention is for you to make a decision, shift your context, facilitate things in a different way, and see some really incredible results with children and the way that they play.